Welcome everyone to Marvel Hub. This is DK Dynamite, and we have some new Avengers Endgame collectible action figures here that we're going to be going over because this really does support a previous video I put out in regards to the Avengers HQ compound battle, which an Avengers Endgame Lego set actually references. So if we take a look here at these collectibles, we could see Thanos standing over what appears to be the Avengers logo, and that is none other than the logo that is of course sitting at the Avengers compound. And if you look at the other characters here like Black Widow, it seems like they're standing over debris, some destruction, and we could see Captain America standing on some rocks. We have the Hulk standing on some more debris, looks like something from a compound, and we have Iron Man flying right over some of that debris. So it really does seem like there will be a battle at Avengers HQ, which to me is really exciting to think about because as of right now, we've tried to put together a timeline of events from Avengers Endgame based on the leaks and based on some of the trailers we've seen, because it does seem like at the beginning of the film, right when Captain Marvel arrives, the Avengers do think, even without the help of Iron Man, without the help of the Hulk, and without the Ant-Man, that they could try to take him on one last time, and they're obviously going to fail at that attempt, but that battle's either going to take place at the Avengers HQ or will take place on Titan 2, depending on which leaks are correct and which aren't. So that seems to be the first battle in the first act of the film, and then it does seem like towards the ending of the film, after they complete the Stark Gauntlet, which seems to be the Avengers' plan to defeat Thanos by going through time, using the Quantum Realm, and collecting the Infinity Stones for themselves, they'll then use that at the end of the film in one final battle. Maybe that final battle will be on Earth at Avengers HQ once Thanos finds out that they have a new gauntlet. So depending on the timeline of events, we could of course use Black Widow's hair to judge that. Of course, it is blonde in some trailers, it is red in some other clips, so we could assume that whatever clips show her with blonde hair will take place at the beginning of the film in the first act, and whatever clips show her with red hair will be taking place after the time jump later on in the film during the late second and third act when they kind of come up with this new plan to use the Quantum Realm. So besides those toy leaks here, we could also take a look at some other leaks that were posted over on Reddit, which definitely correspond with some of the stuff we've been talking about. So one says, at one point, Hawkeye must protect the unfinished gauntlet from Thanos' minions. He plays an instrumental role in Thanos' defeat. So apparently in the trailer, we could see Hawkeye running from what appears to be an explosion, but from a different version of this trailer, I believe this was a 3D version of the trailer, we could see some type of creatures roaming behind them. So the Outriders are definitely returning in this movie, and we've had leaked Lego sets featuring them, some other collectible action figures that have the Outriders, so even in some leaks we've had some mention of the Outriders as well. But there won't be this giant battle in the film where, as if Infinity War, Age of Ultron, or the first Avengers has a big team up versus millions of minions or whatever from the main villain. They're not going to have that in this film. That was not only confirmed by the Russo brothers, but we've also had that in the leaks that the minions are kind of just there in the film, and you'll see them, you'll see the Outriders trying to defend, I believe it's going to be Thanos' ship, or defend some type of event while Hawkeye goes and faces them. You're going to see that, but there won't be like this massive battle at the end like we had with the Battle of Wakanda. Now, there was a theory out there that those fake scenes from the Infinity War trailer showing the Hulk helping in Wakanda would be an alternate battle that we would see in Endgame, where this time they don't fail in Wakanda, and this time the Hulk does come out and helps them in that fight at some point in Avengers Endgame. But I don't think they're going to revisit those events. I think we're really just going in and revisiting some events to collect the Infinity Stones to then create a new gauntlet to face Thanos. I don't think they're going to be revisiting the Battle of Wakanda necessarily to change the outcome of that event, so we'll just have to wait and see what's going on, because it's also curious to mention, you know, what's going to happen with Vision. You know, if they have to build this Stark Gauntlet to face Thanos, how are they going to get the Mind Stone? Are they going to get the Mind Stone before Vision was ever created in Age of Ultron? Are they going to ask Vision to sit down again and so they can take it out of him and then put it in this new gauntlet? We just don't know what's happening with that. But on top of that, we got another list of leaks from, I believe, the same person that posted that one about Hawkeye, and as he says, apparently this is from the same source that was right about those Infinity War spoilers with the Red Skull, Thanos sacrificing Gamora, etc. So he goes down this list, and we have Iron Man reassembles the Avengers and decides to build his own Infinity Gauntlet to undo everything that Thanos did. They recruit Ant-Man to help them travel through time and space using the Quantum Realm to retrieve retrieve the Infinity Stones from different time periods. Thanos finds out about their plans and becomes hell-bent on stopping them. The movie revolves around the relationship between Captain America and Iron Man. At one point, Captain America and Thor fight Thanos. Timeline alterations have restored Mjolnir, and Cap wields it against Thanos to allow the others to escape and is killed, holding Thanos off. So I don't think that's going to happen during the current timeline or in present day. I think that's going to be something that might happen when they revisit the Battle of New York. So obviously the Tesseract is going to be there and they're going to go there trying to retrieve it. Maybe Thanos steps in at some point during the Battle of New York, completely changing the timeline of events from that battle, and somehow Thor gets knocked to the ground and 2012 Cap somehow is able to pick up Thor's hammer at that point. So I think that's what they mean by timeline alterations. I don't think that means the hammer will return in present day, because obviously he has Stormbreaker now and he has a lot of time left to use it in this film. So I don't think you're going to go back and revisit Thor's hammer at all in the current timeline of events. But it also says at one point Hawkeye must protect the unfinished Stark Gauntlet from Thanos' minions. He plays an instrumental role in Thanos' defeat, as we just mentioned, and we have that support from the trailer as well. And Thor's subplot centers on him assembling an army to challenge Thanos. Captain Marvel joins him. And that's something that I think we've spoken about a little while ago, where at some point Thor's going to obviously be in Norway with New Asgard. He's going to team up with Valkyrie, team up with Captain Marvel, and one leak has suggested that he's going to be going to Hell at some point in Avengers Endgame to talk to his sister and somehow ask for an undead army to assist in helping defeat Thanos. But I don't think that sounds really accurate anymore. Looking at the footage we've seen now, looking at some of these new leaks, it doesn't seem like that's even needed anymore. I think with Captain Marvel's help, with this new Stark Gauntlet, with visiting the Quantum Realm, with Ant-Man's help, I don't think they need an undead army, because I think that would be necessary if they were facing a whole bunch of minions again, or a bunch of Outriders I should say. Then that would probably be necessary to help out a little bit. But if they're not going to do that, then I don't think getting an undead army from Hela is going to be necessary in this movie. Now, we also have Hulk's subplot centers on Banner and Hulk finally merging to become Professor Hulk. He's the one that ultimately wields the Stark Gauntlet against Thanos and loses his arm in the process. So that's something that I'm skeptical about as well. I don't know if I see that really being realistic for this movie, him losing his arm throughout some point. I just don't see that happening, but that could be one of those leaks that everyone's surprised about, and then when the movie comes out, everyone's jaw drops when they actually see that happen. But not too sure what I think about that. You guys can let me know down below in the comments. But getting towards the end here, we have Nebula's subplot centers on her efforts to redeem herself. At one point, she fights her murderous past self. So we've seen this in several other leaks as well. So this is really correlating with Nebula's redemption arc and her joining the Avengers in one last fight against Thanos here in the film. And several MCU movies are revisited and retconned, probably not permanently, such as the Avengers retrieving the Power Stone, creating a timeline where the Guardians of the Galaxy never came together. So that's something that I think I've also brought up recently, and that's the idea that when they retcon these events and they go through different time periods to collect stones, and let's say collect the Mind Stone before Vision isn't even created, when all those things happen, it's going to be retconning those alternate timelines in the quantum realm, but it's not necessarily going to alter the current timeline or the main timeline of events that we've all known since 2008, because I think it'd be a huge slap in the face to all of a sudden retcon all the events we know and love from the MCU and somehow just change the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe altogether because of Endgame. I don't think the repercussions are going to necessarily be that big to where Guardians Volume 3 comes out and they never got together, so they're kind of starting from scratch. That's not going to happen. I just think that they're retconning those events, collect the stones, help the current timeline, and everything will go back to normal. That's what I think is going to happen. And somehow, at the end of Endgame, we might have two sets of Infinity Stones that either have to be destroyed or sent away, whatever that is that may be. But I don't think that it's going to be retconning the entire MCU so that Phase 4 and on is completely different and completely separate from everything we know from the first three phases. But we also have a pivotal scene between Doctor Strange and a fully CGI character being shot on a secret location with a skeleton crew, which takes up a sizable portion of the budget. So I believe we had a leaked set photo quite a while ago showing Ant-Man or Scott getting out of the quantum realm and talking to what looks like Doctor Strange. So what I do believe about Doctor Strange in this film is that at that point when he was using the time stone to see all alternate futures in Infinity War, I think he was really kind of traveling through time and speaking to certain people to kind of set a certain chain of events in motion in order for them to win, in order for Thanos to complete his gauntlet, but while doing that, secretly allowing the Avengers to win because they're enacting these chain of events that Doctor Strange kind of set in motion. So he's going to play a big role in this movie despite him being in the Soul Stone right now. I think we'll probably see different versions of him throughout the movie that are actually just him using the Time Stone back in Infinity War and kind of sending himself in the future to talk to certain people to allow certain events to happen. So Doctor Strange is definitely the key within Avengers Endgame, and I really can't wait to see what role he has and what CGI character he's going to be talking to here in the movie. But I think whatever CGI character he's talking to is probably going to be something to do with the future of the MCU, and whatever happens with that conversation, they make a deal or they make some type of agreement. Whatever happens with that, that will kind of enact certain events in Phase 4 and onward. So really curious about what's going to be happening there. But only 2 of the original Avengers are meant to survive the movie. Cap dies. So that's something I've also brought up in a previous video. I don't think it's even necessary for Cap to die. I think it's a more fitting ending for him to kind of live in the past with Peggy. That would be a fitting ending for his character. Now, if you do say that 2012 versions of Cap and Thor and all those people from the Battle of New York, if they die in the film, yeah, it definitely means a lot, but I don't think that the current timeline Avengers are going to be just getting killed off. I think they will all have some type of fitting ending to their character arc, and I don't think I see that happening. But if anyone's going to die, I definitely think it's going to be Stark, but I think Cap has a different ending, which the Russo brothers probably considered since they obviously directed 2 Captain America sequels, so they know the character better than anybody. So moving on here to the last point on the list, the title was originally Avengers Infinity Gauntlet at one point, but it might have been changed after Zoe Saldana accidentally leaked it. So she did say at some point, I think in an interview, when she said that they were shooting Gauntlet, and I don't think that was ever the main title of Avengers 4. I just think that was a placeholder title they used as they were shooting the film, because obviously the film does revolve around the Infinity Gauntlet, building a new one, collecting the Infinity Stones again, while Infinity War was really just the war for the Infinity Stones themselves, while again Avengers 4 is really focused on that damn gauntlet. But I don't think that was the necessary title for Avengers 4. I think that was definitely a placeholder. I think Avengers Forever, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Annihilation, those were all fitting titles for the final film here for Phase 3. But that's about it. Let me know what you think of this down below in the comment section. Once again, the same person who's been leaking this information has also leaked accurate information last year in regards to Infinity War with Heimdall's death, Thanos sacrificing Gamora, the Red Skull reappearing. He's leaked some pretty damn insane things from Infinity War. So take this with a grain of salt. We never know. This could all be fabricated, but at the end of the day, there is some good support to actually back up a lot of these claims. But this has been DK Dynamite. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn notifications on to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. Peace out, everyone.